It is actually Monday, August 8th at 6:27 p.m. If you didn't know, it is Ryan's birthday.
Yes.
So by the time this is out, you'll be wishing Ryan a happy belated birthday. But be sure to drop Ryan a happy birthday in the comments. We are back today with our first podcast / YouTube video of the week. This is out on all platforms. We're bringing you guys our top, what did we say? In total, top 28 fantasy football wide receivers this year. Going into this fantasy football season, for the most part, our lists were the same. There is a few discrepancies, but the discrepancies are kind of big.
Yeah,
Especially,
we were pretty steady, but one player.
There's about a 16
player
gap between these guys. But with that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us, rate us, whatever you're listening to. You guys have been loving the fantasy football content, so we're going to keep pushing it out for you guys. Be sure to share our post. Follow us on TikTok. You guys have been killing our TikToks. We're steady moving up on TikTok, so be sure to check us out on TikTok. And before we get into our top fantasy football wide receivers, here is a word from our sponsor.
Little Italy Pizzeria. They got the best cheesesteaks, the best pizza in all of Delaware. 2 locations. One of those is in Middletown, Delaware. The other one is in Townsend. It is a great family business with great food, great people, great prices. Be sure to come in and check it out. Let them know that we sent you. They will take care of you. Show proof that you're subscribed or that you listen to us. And they will hook you up with an additional discount. With no further ado, we're going to dive into this receiver list. So what we're doing, we ranked the top 24, 26 receivers. That's just basically 12-team leagues, 2 wide receivers. There happened to be 26 because some guys didn't make either of our list, and we had to, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then we're also going to give a couple guys that are outside the top 26 that we are going to be targeting heavy for our wide receiver 3. A couple sleeper guys, but just some guys on the outside that you need to be paying attention to.
Yeah, later in the week, we're also dropping our fantasy football sleeper video. That'll be a YouTube exclusive segment. We'll be giving you guys probably 6 to 8 sleepers that we like in fantasy football this year, guys that we're targeting toward the end of the middle rounds, in the later rounds of fantasy. And we're also uploading our NFC North seasonal breakdown, schedule predictions, over-under win totals, and more. And like Ryan said, without further ado, we're going to be, if you guys... Disclaimer, we're going to do it how we did the running backs last week. We're not going to deep dive into a lot of these guys in depth. We'll tell you why we have them ranked where, but we're not going to spend 20 minutes telling you why Cooper Kupp is one of the best receivers in football.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp happened to be our number 1. I will tell you that right now, if my draft was tomorrow or if my draft was tonight, I would be taking Justin Jefferson over him.
Yeah.
Granted, I have Cooper Kupp ahead of him, and I think if Matt Stafford is not lying about him being 100% fine, then I would take Cooper Kupp ahead. But as we said right now, there is some risk around Matt Stafford in that elbow. I am, somewhat concerned about it. I feel like it would be silly of me to not be somewhat concerned about it. But still, Cooper Kupp's, a top dog. I'm not going to say her, be an asshole.
Yeah, the reason I really thought heavily about putting Justin Jefferson at that number 1 spot, and I could see it happening, Justin Jefferson finishing 1, but the biggest thing for me is the tier break in quarterbacks.
No,
That's what does it for me. I'd take Cooper Kupp over Justin Jefferson just because do I want to have to sit here and bank on Kirk Cousins having a good game? Because granted, if Kirk Cousins is on, that means Justin Jefferson's probably doing good, but there is those 3, 4, 5 games a year where Kirk Cousins is just going to beat Kirk Cousins and have a terrible game, which leads to a terrible game for Justin Jefferson for the rest of the team. I have Cooper Kupp at 1. It goes without saying, Cooper Kupp had the greatest fantasy football season for a wide receiver we've seen in our lifetime. Because neither of us were born when Jerry Rice did it in, 95?
Yeah.
But yeah, Cooper Kupp's top dog. I highly doubt he goes and repeats the success he had last year just because it was a record-breaking season. But Cooper Kupp, there hasn't been any reason why we should really take away that number 1 spot from Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. The quarterback break he was talking about, Matt Stafford's better. In terms of fantasy, I'm not sure it's really worth it to make that just because of the fact that the Vikings are going to pass the ball a shit ton. And really being the better quarterback doesn't truly matter if you're going to just throw the ball a bunch. Who am I taking in the fourth quarter? Yeah, I'm taking Matt Stafford, but the Vikings are going to throw the ball just as much as the Rams are. And I think Kirk Cousins is serviceable enough to support a top receiver.
Question before we move on. What is the earliest that you're taking Cooper Kupp in a fantasy football draft?
Full PPR, I would consider it. I consider it at that 3 spot, honestly.
Really?
My 2 running backs are JT and Christian McCaffrey. And then I wouldn't call you a dummy for taking Cooper Kupp. Right now I am worried about it with his elbow, so that kind of gets me off of Cooper Kupp a little bit. But if Matt Stafford looks fine and his elbow is all good, I wouldn't hate you for taking Cooper Kupp at 3.
Nah, I love the mid-round receivers too much for me to take a receiver in the top 5, I would say. There's 5 running backs I'd rather have with my top 5 pick than a Cooper Kupp or even a Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, but full PPR, you kind of have to consider it a little bit more. Next up, Justin Jefferson, new offensive coordinator. There's not really much to explain here. He's going to ball out. 3rd year, new offensive coordinator. He's going to be a stud. Yeah. Next up, Jamar Chase.
This one was tough.
I had him at 4. Anthony had him at 3. I had him basically tied with Diggs. I just had Diggs getting an advantage. Jamar Chase is coming off of the greatest rookie receiver season ever.
Yeah.
And a sophomore improvement could definitely happen. Usually with receivers, the rookie year, they show flashes. The second year, they blow up. Jamar Chase has arguably already done that, so he can only go up from here.
In theory, he could go down.
You're the only one that's on that boat.
I know.
So go ahead and explain yourself. But I think Jamar Chase is a safe top 10 receiver and it ain't close. He'll probably be around top 5.
Yeah, Jamar Chase, sure, he's a top 10 receiver. But in terms of fantasy football, Jamar Chase, he was weeks 1 through 7, I'm pretty sure he was top 7 every single week. But then after that, he was very inconsistent. Yeah, he has week winning upside. And last year, he probably won you your league is where you got him. But I would personally prefer a receiver that's going to produce a lot than a Jamar Chase who's just a week winner every here and now and then. I'm pretty sure he'll be fine. I have him ranked at 3 for a reason. Sophomore year, the Bengals are coming back, have a better offensive line. So I think they'll be fine. I just think that teams are going to be able to figure out Jamar Chase a little bit, which is going to open up the floor to guys like T. Higgins, who I'm very, very high on, who we'll talk about later, help Joe Mixon get involved in the passing game more, and even Tyler Boyd always manages a way to stay involved in the passing game. So, yeah, I don't think Jamar Chase goes out and has the same success he did last year, although it's not saying much. I think Jamar Chase, having him at 3 is safe, and I know I'm probably contradicting myself with that statement, but it's Jamar Chase. He's going to go do his thing.
Next up, we have Stefon Diggs as our number 4. I had him at 3. Anthony had him at 5. Stefon Diggs was a stud last year, and there wasn't a lot of big plays that happened. They just didn't really connect. I think Stefon Diggs and those plays will connect. He'll be another top dog like he was before. He has arguably the best quarterback, the best system in terms of all fantasy wide receivers. I'm not sure that there's a better system out there because Stefon Diggs is literally the only dude for one. I mean, I'm not going to Gabe Davis. Nobody's going to argue that with me.
He caught 3 touchdowns in a playoff game, bro.
Literally don't care.
He caught 3 touchdowns.
Stefon Diggs is the only one there. Josh Allen has a hose, so.
You should see his arm, bro.
Yeah, and that's why Stefon Diggs is our 4th, my 3rd, his 5th.
Yeah, Diggs will be fine. I mean, he didn't have a lot of touchdowns last year just because the fact that Josh Allen and Dawson Knox had
a lot.
Didn't Dawson Knox have like 10 touchdowns all in the red zone last year?
He had a good bit.
So that took away from that. But Stefon Diggs, he's good for deep plays. Josh Allen's going to be looking for him. Josh Allen's going to throw him the ball. Stefon Diggs has proved year in and year out that he is a top 5, top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. And for fantasy football, he's probably going to repeat that this year, not last year. Next up, Davante Adams. Ryan had him at 5. I had him ranked at 4. He's our consensus number 5. Davante Adams, he's back with Derek Carr. There's been that narrative they were amazing together at college at Fresno State. They're back this year. They're back together, new system, Josh McDaniels, first-year head coach. Now, Davante Adams has been receiver? What has he been, top 3 every year? I mean,
pretty much.
I mean, since 2017, he's had
the most touchdowns in football.
Yes. But I have him ranked a little bit lower. I thought to put him at 3, but if you really want to look at it, Davante Adams has thrived in the red zone. I mean, he's produced a lot from the red zone, but you got guys like Darren Waller. Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow are Derek Carr's 2 favorite red zone go-to guys. Now, I think Davante Adams is going to go and have 18, 25, 26 touchdowns in the season like he's done before with Aaron Rodgers? Probably not. But we all know what Devontae Adams is good for. He's going to get open. He's going to wreak havoc on defense. He's going to make big plays. So Devontae Adams is a safe top 5 receiver pick. The only thing is I don't think he scores nearly as many touchdowns this year as he's done in years past.
Yeah, Devontae Adams is a stud. I'm not going to put too much thought into that one. Next up, CeeDee Lamb. I had him at 8. Anthony had him at 6. He was our consensus 6. Basically, CeeDee Lamb, him and Dak have built up a pretty good report so far in the training camp. They kind of have to, considering he is literally the only dude there.
Yeah.
I could see CeeDee Lamb easily having a top 10 season. He even has the upside to be top 5, top 3. I have him at 8. He's just not as good as the other guys, but he's going to be right up there with them. There's a lot of receivers that are going to do big things this year.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb's one of them.
Yeah, the only thing that worries, CeeDee Lamb, I had him at 6. The only thing that does worry me a little bit, though, is the fact that Dak likes to spread the ball around. So, I don't know if CeeDee Lamb is going to go out there and have 110 targets.
The only thing that worries me is touchdowns. Targets will be there because there's literally nobody else. But
it's fair.
I'm not sure how good of a red zone target CeeDee Lamb is.
Yeah, with Dawson Knox staying there, is he going to play this year or is he going to hold out?
Dalton Schultz.
Dalton Schultz, not Dawson Knox. He's playing? Okay, so you got that in the red zone, but CeeDee's going to be fine. He'll do his thing. Dak's targeted him in the red zone before, as we've seen, when he had that crazy catch against the Vikings his rookie year.
Yeah.
But now, like Ryan said, there's nobody else for him to throw the ball to.
Next up, Deebo Samuel. I had him at 6. Anthony had him at 9. Deebo, a lot of people were worried about him before. He might not run the ball as much. Trey Lance. It's really as simple as this. Trey Lance don't need to be that good for Deebo to be good. Deebo is one of the best yards after catch receivers in football that we have right now. He had like 800 yards after catch last season, which is a absolutely ridiculous number.
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel, he has a rushing incentive. I think 350 yards, 3 touchdowns. He gets a couple $100,000, something like that.
I'll take that incentive.
And I'm sure Deebo Samuel will too. So he's going to be more incentive, whatever, to get his money. He's going to get his. He's got to. I had him at 6. Anthony had him at 9. He's going to get the ball a shit ton. PPR, this dude's a stud. Anywhere, this dude's a stud. The 49ers offense might take a hit. They're not the fastest offense in terms of how many plays they play, but Deebo Samuel's a stud, and I'm not worried about him at all this year.
No, Ryan pretty much hit the nail on the head with that one. Next up, Tyreek Hill. Ryan had him at 9. I had him at 7. Now, if you've listened to me talk about the Dolphins and Tyreek Hill, you may think, Anthony, why do you have him at 7? You hate the Dolphins. I just hate Tua. But the fact of the matter is when you have a receiver as good as Tyreek Hill, who, in my opinion, is one of the, if not the best receiver in the NFL, if he gets the ball, he's going to make plays. We've seen these quick shift. He's probably the fastest player in the NFL. They've shown flashes in camp together. Tua has the potential to air the ball out if he needs to. If you tell Tyreek Hill to run straight and just let Tua throw the ball, there's a good chance he's going to come down with it. Tyreek Hill's been a stud. I'm sure Mike McDaniel is going to take some of that 49ers as Kyle Shanahan offense over to Miami with him and get Tyreek Hill involved with the jet sweeps and the screen game as well, like we saw in Kansas City. But the big play, the big yardage, and the playmaking upside is there for Tyreek Hill, so I wouldn't worry about it too much in terms of fantasy.
Next up, well, Tyreek Hill, he's pretty similar to Deebo Samuel, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Both the players are arguably the same. I just think Deebo's in a better situation. Next up, Mike Evans. I had him at 7. Anthony had him at 11. Mike Evans is going to ball out this year. He balls out every time. There's literally nobody else, on the field with him. When Chris Godwin wasn't there last year, Mike Evans was a top 3, top 5 receiver. Chris Godwin is not going to be the same this year if he's even out there on the field week 1. Gronk's gone. That means Mike Evans is getting all the red zone touches, and Russell Gage is not going to be getting the red zone touches. So, therefore, I'm heavy on Mike Evans this year.
You missed out on one really, really big name in that receiver room.
No, I didn't, because Julio's won. Mike Evans will be 7. Julio might have a couple good games here and there, but he is not that dude anymore.
Nah, Mike Evans is the most probably fantasy football consistent receiver in the NFL. He's good for at least 1,000 yards and at least 10 touchdowns. I'm pretty sure he's finished between the 8 and 12 range every year in fantasy football since 2017. So that's where I had him this year at about 11. I could see him finishing higher, but with being Tom Brady's only option, Tom Brady, another guy who likes to spread the ball around, but to agree with Ryan, Mike Evans is a stud when he is the only guy there. We saw it when Jameis was the quarterback. We saw it when Chris Godwin went down last year, and when the only other options were Cam Brate, Tyler Johnson, and Jalen Darden. So Mike Evans is Mr. Consistent. He's going to go out there and ball, and there's really, Mike Evans is, if you want to look at terms of consistency and safe pick, Mike Evans is probably one of the safest wide receivers you could take in fantasy football.
That's fair. Next up, Anthony's boy, Michael Pittman. I had him at 12. Anthony had him at 8. Both, I think, respectable for Mr. Michael Pittman. Go ahead and explain yourself.
Michael Pittman, I guess he had his sophomore breakout year last year, I guess you could argue. With Carson Wentz at quarterback, he was very good. He was getting the ball a lot. He was seeing a lot of deep balls from Carson Wentz when he was accurate. They were getting involved in the short passing game. Pretty sure there was a couple games where he even may have gotten a jet sweep or an end around, taking him back to his days at USC, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
But Michael Pittman has Matt Ryan this year. We've talked about it before. Matt Ryan just has to go out there and just be a field general. Just go out there and do his thing, which is perfect for Matt Ryan. They're going to go out there. They're going to rely on Jonathan Taylor to run the ball. And when teams are keen on that, they have Matt Ryan to air it out to Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman is a very, very similarly playing type / player build as Julio Jones was, and we all saw how much success Matt Ryan and Julio Jones had together in Atlanta. I know that was years ago, and I may just be dwelling on the past, but I think Michael Pittman is in for a monster year this year. He has the best quarterback he's had in his career, arguably. He's probably on the same tier as Phillip Rivers in terms of like where they rank all time, I guess. I don't know. But Matt Ryan is still at a good point of his career. He really wasn't all that god-awful last year. Matt Ryan is another one of those quarterbacks that's kind of just been average. He had one MVP year. They blew the Super Bowl, whatever. But no, I think Michael Pittman is going to have a very, very big year this year with Matt Ryan at quarterback. With Jonathan Taylor coming off the breakout year, I think Jonathan Taylor breaking out is going to help Michael Pittman a lot, and I could easily see Michael Pittman finishing inside the top 10 for fantasy football this year.
Yeah, Matt Ryan has supported receiver since the dawn of time. Roddy White, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, just to name a few, and he will be fine this year. Next up, another one of Anthony's boys, so I'm going to give it to him. Going to give him the floor. T. Higgins, I had him at 14. Anthony had him at 10. Both respectable.
Yeah.
For the wide receiver 2 in Cincinnati.
T. Higgins is a guy who I've been high on since the NFL draft process. I easily believe T. Higgins should have and would have been a first-round pick if he didn't hurt his foot and didn't participate in the combine, which led him to fall to the 33rd overall pick in the 2020 NFL draft. T. Higgins is an amazing receiver, too. He did his thing as a receiver 1 for the year that before they had Jamar Chase when Joey B got hurt, when it was A.J. Green, Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins. I've been on the T. Higgins train for a minute. T. Higgins, I'm about 99% sure T. Higgins had the highest target share in Cincinnati last year, despite Jamar Chase having a big year. I think with teams keying on Jamar Chase a lot more this year, that's going to open up the field a lot more for T. Higgins this year. So I think that with T. Higgins winning the total target share last year, with Jamar Chase being keyed on a lot more, I think T. Higgins is going to have a lot of success. And I was saying to Ryan earlier, I think there's a world, then it could be this year, where Jamar Chase finishes lower than T. Higgins in terms of total fantasy. Now, I'm not saying that is going to happen, but I could see it happening just because how high I am on T. Higgins. As I said earlier, I love the mid-round receivers, the T. Higgins, the Michael Pittmans of the world. So that's why I'm really liking T. Higgins this year.
Yeah, you're probably right. Jamar Chase had more targets, but T. Higgins, I think, played less games, or he at least had way less snaps. So percentage-wise, you were probably right on that stat. Next up, just first credibility to the source.
Yeah, I just don't want. Thank you for making me not seem like an asshole.
I wouldn't have said anything if you were wrong. So
sounds about right.
Next up, I'll take this one because I'm pretty high on this guy this year. It is Cortland Sutton. I have him 13. Anthony has him 12, so he's, I guess, a little bit higher than I am. Cortland Sutton, I think, is going to be a dog this year, considering Tim Patrick is hurt.
That was a big blow.
KJ Hamler is also still rehabbing. Jerry Jeudy has work concerns. Can't catch a cold.
Motherfucker can't catch.
There's just a lot of things. Russell Wilson doesn't mind airing the ball out. We saw what he did with DK. We could possibly see the same thing with Cortland Sutton. Sutton is a year off of his ACL or Achilles.
I think it was ACL.
He's a year off of it, so he should be back to healthy. All reports are him and Russell Wilson have a great connection. I am very on this Russell Wilson and Cortland Sutton train. I would probably try to stack both of them if you can. Cortland Suns is going to be a dog in the red zone this year. He's going to be a dog on deep passes. He has the build of a more standard or 0.5 PPR type of league, just because I'm not sure he's going to get the ball a shit ton, because he's not going to be around the scrimmage a lot. But, like if you're in a standard league, definitely be on Cortland Sutton, Mike Evans, Mike Williams type of player.
Yeah.
Next up, DJ Moore. I had him at 15. Anthony had him at 13.
DJ Moore.
It can only go up for DJ Moore at this point.
Yeah.
His quarterbacks have been god-awful the past 4 or 5 years. I don't even know how long he's been in the league.
Kyle Allen. Cam Newton, Kyle Allen. Sam Darnold.
And then they had P.J. Walker.
P.J. Walker, the XFL legend. Let me see how many years. I'm pretty sure DJ Moore's been in the league for like 5 or 6 years.
He's had a new quarterback, probably every single one of them, and he still put up decent numbers. The only thing that's wrong with DJ Moore is that he hasn't scored any touchdowns.
He got drafted in 2018.
How many touchdowns does my man have all time? It's probably like 10.
So since 2018, he had 2 his rookie year, 4 his second year, 4 his third year, and 4 last year. So he has 14 total touchdowns.
Yeah, dude just does not score touchdowns. 4 touchdowns is not going to cut it.
He has a lot. I mean, he does his thing now.
No, he's a stud.
I mean,
just
his
ain't
rookie
scoring.
year, he had 788 yards. Then the past 3 years, he had 1175, 1193, 1157. So I mean, he gets yards.
Shitty quarterbacks that don't move the ball at all.
Yeah.
If Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, and if Baker Mayfield shows that he can be a good quarterback, even serviceable quarterback, a Kirk Cousins type quarterback, DJ Moore can have a killer season.
Yeah.
That's really all it lies on. Am I drafting DJ Moore? Probably not. I don't love it, just because there's more risk there in comparison to guys like T. Higgins or Cortland Sutton. But I could definitely see DJ Moore having a good season.
There goes our start bench cut TikTok. T. Higgins, Michael Pittman, and Cortland Sutton.
Okay.
But DJ Moore, I think I had DJ Moore I think around 2025 before the Baker trade, and he jumped up to 13 for me.
Yeah.
I'm confident. I mean, I've had DJ Moore the past 2 years now in fantasy.
It sucks so bad having DJ Moore.
Yeah. Especially with a bad Panthers team. I do the same thing every year. I'm like, I'm not going to touch Zach Moss or Devin Singletary. There was one point I played 4 fantasy leagues, and in every single league, I had Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. Both of them on all my teams.
I think I had DJ Moore in 2 of my leagues, and I traded him to you in both of them, maybe.
Pretty sure I got DJ Moore and Clyde Edwards-Helaire in a standard league in a trade with you somehow.
Oh my god, I just wanted to get rid of those guys.
I also traded you. Our worst trade I ever did. I traded you, Jonathan Taylor and Jamar Chase for Kareem Hunt, Keenan Allen, and Antonio Brown.
Yep.
Before the season even started. And then on the contrary, you traded my brother, Cooper Kupp, for Brandon Ayuk.
And I got Kareem Hunt. And I gave up another running back. Or something like that.
Oh, yeah, because my team looked so different in that league.
Yeah, because I got Kareem Hunt, and I gave up like a crappy running back. Anyways, let's not dwell on the past.
Yeah, that's why new year, new us. Keenan Allen.
I had him at 11. Anthony had him at 18. I guess I'll explain myself here. He's on one of the highest passing offenses in football. You're not going to convince me that Austin Eckler is going to run the ball 20 times a game, because he's not. Because he's barely 200 pounds, which makes it so he's not going to get the ball a shit ton. Justin Herbert is emerging as a young stud. Mike Evans is the deep guy. Keenan Allen's getting up there in age, but he's still fine. He is still one of the best short route runners in football.
Yeah.
PPR stud. If you want a PPR stud, you draft Keenan Allen and you don't look back. You don't think twice. Granted, there's going to be a fall off at some point, but I don't see it happening this year. I still respect the man.
No, I mean, I could see there. I have him ranked a little lower just because, I mean, yeah, it's Keenan Allen. I've been high on him before, but I just think that the guys that I have above him are probably going to do better.
The problem is you got Keenan Allen at 18 and Mike Williams at 26, and I just think there's no way one of them don't finish higher than that.
I think this is an offense that the ball gets spread out a lot, and I really, really do think Gerald Everett is going to play a big role in this offense.
Okay.
Just because how bad Justin Herbert... It was so hard to watch Justin Herbert throw to Jared Cook last year. Because Jared Cook sucked last year. Jared Cook was terrible. I had to stream him in fantasy because I waited on a tight end, and it was so hard to watch. Justin Herbert just wanted to throw to his tight end so bad, and Jared Cook just blows. They bought in Gerald Everett for a reason. I think Gerald Everett is going to play a big part in this offense. Austin Eckler is. Isaiah Spiller, their backup, probably will. I think this is just an offense that's going to be very high-powered, but spreads the ball out around a lot.
Yeah, our discrepancies, I have Mike Williams at 10 and Keenan Allen at 11. Anthony has Keenan Allen at 18 and Mike Williams at 26.
I'll talk about Mike
one
Williams
of us
later.
is going to be right and one of us is going to be way wrong.
Yeah.
Or one of us is going to be right about like Keenan Allen and then the other one's going to be wrong about Mike Williams or some shit like that.
Probably like that. I mean,
I'm going to be right about it. Anyways.
I'm going to be right on Mike Williams.
Terry McLaurin is up next. I had him at 16. Anthony had him at 17. I'm surprised we're kind of the same. He was our consensus 15. I think Terry McLaurin might kind of revive a little bit. Carson Wentz, the only thing that man is good at somehow is throwing the ball deep. Terry McLaurin can run deep. Granted, hopefully that works.
I mean,
am I drafting Terry McLaurin?
No.
Probably not.
No. I'm not playing. I'm not watching any Washington Commander football this year.
Am I like? I mean,
come on.
I think the fall of Terry McLaurin might make me have to take him because he had left such a bad taste in everybody's mouth that he might just be a value to where I have to do it. I think he bounces back a little bit. Am I like excited to leave draft day with Terry McLaurin?
Probably not.
Like if I left draft day with Terry McLaurin and DJ Moore, I would not be excited at all about my season. Anything you want to add on Terry?
The Terry McLaurin thing. Terry McLaurin's been good every year he's been in the league, but the shitty quarterbacks he's been dealt. It's just like DJ Moore. Last year was very hard to watch. I don't know if it was just because Taylor Heineke was quarterback or what. I would probably go out there and say, I mean, despite the training camp reports I've been hearing about how bad Carson Wentz is, Carson Wentz is probably a little bit better than Taylor Heineke in terms of overall quarterback. I think that the Commanders, they're going to be a weird team to watch this year just because we're at the stage the team's at. They're a quarterback away. They drafted Jahan Dotson in the first round with Curtis Samuel and Dimey Brown. They have a pretty solid receiver room. They don't have an offensive line. We all know how Carson Wentz gets when he's under pressure. He tries to do stupid shit and he does stupid stuff and he just tries too much to make something happen, which I think that's going to hurt them a lot. Yeah, I think Terry McLaurin finishes about middle of the pack. I'm surprised that you're high on him. I was surprised that we're about the same as well, but I'm not excited if I'm leaving my fantasy draft with a receiver where Carson Wentz is the quarterback.
Next up, Jaylen Waddle. I had him at 19. Anthony had him at 15. Anthony is higher on the Dolphins receivers than I am. Jaylen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are both studs. Yes. Do I think that this offense can support Jaylen Waddle and Tyreek Hill to be that good? I don't know. That's where my worries lie. I think they can both be yak monsters. And I think PPR-wise, you definitely want to target them.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say. It could be a breakout. We could see an absolute stud come from Jaylen Waddle. Second year. That's when it usually happens.
Yeah, now I'm pretty sure that if Tua can even go out and beat Kirk Cousins, we're going to be looking at a similar season to how we saw a couple of years back when Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster were on the same team. Antonio Brown was the best receiver in the league. He was going out producing. To his contrary, receiver 2 was Juju Smith-Schuster, who is now like a glorified receiver 3, terrible receiver 2, terrible, even awful receiver 1. Jaylen Waddle is going to be able to thrive in this offense. This only thing that it comes down to is Tua. How good is Tua going to be? Is Tua going to go out and be a bust, or is Tua going to go out and be great, or is he just going to be average? I think if Tua can go out there and just be Ben Roethlisberger, be Kirk Cousins, these Dolphins receivers will be fine. That's why I'm high on him. I'm starting to be a little more optimistic about the Dolphins and Tua. Yeah, as a Patriots fan, it sucks. But I think that these Dolphins receivers are going to be a hot commodity in fantasy football just because how much they're going to throw the ball, just because they are in the loaded AFC and they're going to have to put up points.
Next up, A.J. Brown. I had him at 20. Anthony had him at 14. It's really just simple as he's an Eagle. They're going to run the hell out of the ball, and I just don't see that much volume going towards A.J. Brown.
I think A.J. Brown sees a similar year to Metcalf, to Deebo Samuel did last year. Now, I'm not saying A.J. Brown's going to go out there and produce the same amount and have as great of a year as Deebo did, but I think they're going to be used a similar role. I think the Eagles are going to try and get A.J. Brown involved in the jet sweep game, with the quick pitch game, with the deep passing game. The Eagles tried to throw the ball deep a lot last year. I watched a little more Eagles football than I like to, and I just feel like Jalen Hurts was just trying so hard to throw the ball deep, and he just couldn't get it done. But him and Jalen Hurts have seemed to develop a pretty big connection. I'm actually high on the Eagles this year, so I think that A.J. Brown is going to get a nice role in this Eagles dynamic offense with the outside zone runs, with the jet sweeps, with the quick pitches, and I think he's going to find a lot of PPR success and play a similar role to how Deebo Samuel played for the 49ers offense last year.
Next up, Mike Williams. I had him at 10. Anthony had him at 26. Mike Williams got paid. Keenan Allen's getting older. Herbert needs a number one dog on the outside. That's going to be Mike Williams. Mike Williams is a stud in the red zone. Mike Williams is going to improve this year. They only got better. The Chargers only got better. Herbert only got better. Mike Williams and the connection only got better. What does that mean? Mike Williams is still young. Mike Williams has first-round talent. Mike Williams was a stud in Clemson. He's going to be a stud again in the Chargers this year. That's why I have him at 10. Dude's going to ball. That's simple. Enough said.
Nope, he's not going to ball. He'll ball for the first 4 weeks and fall off a cliff, just like he does every year. Mike Williams is not that guy. Mike Williams is not the $20 million a year man that the Chargers paid him to be. The Chargers need a true receiver one. Keenan Allen was a great receiver one. Now he's just an average receiver one. Mike Williams is a pretty good receiver two, great receiver three, but the Chargers still lack that true number one. That's why I have Mike Williams ranked so low.
Next up, Brandon Cooks. I had him at 17. Anthony had him at 19. The Houston Texans offense in general is getting a lot of disrespect. And with all that being said, Brandon Cooks is Davis Mills' man, and he will continue to be a PPR stud like he has been the past couple years. Nobody literally knows who Brandon Cooks is. I could probably get Brandon Cooks in the 10th round in my home league just because he's a Texan and he sucks.
Well, the Texans suck, not he sucks.
Well, they think he sucks because the Texans suck. But I will continue to take the value of Brandon Cooks, even though it is not sexy at all.
No, I mean, Brandon Cooks is another one of those fantasy football receivers that just goes out there and puts up 1,000-yard seasons very quietly. He was pretty good last year with the Texans when he was literally the only thing there. They have Brevin Jordan, who I think is going to have at tight end have a second-year breakout. But they really don't have anything else on that offense. So I think Brandon Cooks is going to play another really, really big role in this Texans offense that lacks the firepower.
Next up, Hollywood Marquise Brown. I had him at 21. Anthony had him at 16. I'm a little bit off of him in terms of his hammy's already bothering him.
Yeah, that kind of blows.
They got arrested or got in trouble for speeding.
He got arrested for...
I don't really care.
Yeah.
But his hammy, that's already a red flag. Do I think Marquise Brown is a stud when he's on the field? Yes, and I think him and Kyler will probably ball out. And I think Marquise Brown is more of a daily fantasy kind of guy because I don't know how much I would love to draft him. As my wide receiver 3, I'd rock with it. But drafting him where he's being drafted in the 6th, 7th round, I just don't see myself taking him there.
No, I mean, especially if this DeAndre Hopkins suspension doesn't get overturned and he has to miss the first 6 to 8 weeks, barring no injuries, barring healthy Hollywood Brown, I think that he's going to see a lot of success in this Cardinals offense. It's like the perfect narrative. He's reunited with his college teammate. They were so fun to watch back at college, and I think it's one of those situations where it's like storybook ending. Like, they're going to be fine. Barring injuries, if Hollywood Brown is injured, obviously scratch this. I didn't change my rankings because I think he'll be fine. And I think that the Cardinals offense as a whole will be fine. That's why I have Hollywood Brown ranked at the 16. Because 8 weeks as the receiver one with his former college quarterback, it's going to do wonders. They're going to put up big numbers. When Zach Ertz is the number 2 option, I mean, something's got to give. Hollywood Brown will be fine.
Next up, Allen Robinson. I had him at 18. Anthony had him at 22. Kind of wish I put him higher in your drafts. If you want somebody safe, if you want somebody on a top offense, if you want somebody that still has something in the tank that's going to eat this year, go get Allen Robinson. I would rather have Allen Robinson than like a Terry McLaurin, than a Jaylen Waddle. He's than a DJ Moore, honestly. I think he's going to finish around the 10 to 15 range. He's going to eat in this Rams offense being the number 2. He is probably more of a red zone target than Cooper Kupp is. He's definitely more of a red zone target than Robert Woods was.
Yeah.
That's not saying anything at all. Allen Robinson, if you want a stud wide receiver, go get him. Don't let your league mates get him.
We saw how much Odell produced last year as the receiver 2 with Cooper Kupp having a breakout year. I mean, I think that Allen Robinson's going to go have that same success as Odell did. He's going to go out there. He's going to put up big numbers. He's going to pass heavy offense with Matt Stafford at quarterback on a top offense in the NFL. Allen Robinson's a great value pick for where he's getting drafted, so I have zero problems. And like Ryan said, I'd rather have him than a lot of these other receivers that are getting drafted ahead of him.
Next up, Deontay Johnson. I had him at 22. Anthony had him at 20. There's no doubting the talent of Deontay Johnson. We're only down to situation. I don't know if it's Mitch Trubisky. I don't know if it's Mason Rudolph. I don't know if it's Kenny Pickett. I don't know if I want to be a part of this offense. No. That's why I have Deontay at 22. I would be probably more enticed to go grab a George Pickens at the very end because I feel like there's more meat on the bone than there is Deontay Johnson getting drafted in the 4th, 5th round. I don't see him returning that value. I would much rather have an Allen Robinson than a Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, whoops, I'm trying to find something. Steelers depth chart. I saw something on TikTok earlier, and I just want to confirm it.
Probably don't look at depth charts in the start of August.
Oh, no, they were lying like shit.
And yes.
Okay, but yeah, Deontay Johnson, like Ryan said, I don't like this situation at all. I mean, I really don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I don't know if I want to have to sit here and watch another year of Steelers football with just terrible quarterback play. There's, like Ryan said, there's no doubting the talent. He just got paid as a contract extension that he wanted, which kind of surprised me a little bit because the Steelers really don't pay receivers that often. We saw them let Antonio Brown walk. They like to go build through the draft with their receivers, hence the Chase Claypool and George Pickens, so I was surprised there. But no, I would not be happy walking away with Deontay Johnson in a fantasy draft where he's being drafted.
Next up, DK Metcalf. I had him at 25. Anthony had him at 21. Same shit as Deontay Johnson. We don't know the offense, and therefore I am kind of scared.
Listen, if there's one thing Drew Lock is good at doing, it is throwing the ball deep. Drew Lock is a quarterback that will go out there and say, I think DK is down there somewhere. And probably 1 out of 5 deep ball throws DK will probably come down with if Drew Lock just says, he's down there somewhere. So someone's got to give. I don't think DK Metcalf sees the amount of success we've seen him have in the years past. I think Seattle is a bottom 3, 4, 5 team in the league this year, actually. So I'm not drafting DK Metcalf in any leagues just because, like Ryan said, we don't know what we're getting from the offense. But I still think he's going to go out there and be able to put up a top 20, top 25 fantasy football year just due to the offense that they're going to have to run to be successful. I think there'll be a lot of dinking and dunking and curl routes and maybe a deep shot every now and then that DK gets, but I think that DK will probably be a top 20, top 25 fantasy receiver this year.
Next up, Michael Thomas. I had him at 24. Anthony had him at 23. I am pretty in on the Saints receiving core. I definitely want, some of these guys on my fantasy team, whether it is Michael Thomas or Chris Olave. Where Michael Thomas is getting drafted right now, 7th, 8th round, 6th, 7th, 8th round. I'm all in there.
Yeah.
I'm willing to take that shot in the 7th round if Michael Thomas is there, and I won't really think twice about it. Just because of upside, dude has been a stud wide receiver every single year, except for when he didn't play. Jameis Winston can support a top receiver. He has done it before.
With Mike Evans.
I could see Michael Thomas being an absolute stud. Him or Chris Olave is going to be an absolute value, and I would probably try to target one of them in each of my fantasy drafts.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much said it all with Michael Thomas. Next up, who do we got? Oh, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Ryan had him at 23. I had him at 25. Amon-Ra was my fantasy sleeper last year. I said in the late rounds of the draft Amon-Ra St. Brown. He started out the season very slow. You probably picked him up off waivers after his first big game, and he didn't look back from there. With Jared Goff at quarterback, Amon-Ra St. Brown, if Jamar Chase didn't have a career year, Amon-Ra St. Brown was probably the best rookie wide receiver last year in terms of numbers and production, not including Jamar Chase. I mean, between Waddle, Devontae Smith, and all those other guys, I would probably argue that Amon-Ra was the best out of the rest of them.
I'd say it's like a 3-way tie with Waddle, Elijah Moore, and Amon-Ra. They were all pretty tight.
Yeah, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's a guy in Detroit, yes. The biggest red flag for me this year is, I said it last week talking about DeAndre Swift, and I said it again. The Lions' offense is structured similar to how the Bengals' offense, just minus the quarterback play. They have 3 pretty good receivers. I mean, the Bengals, they got the Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. But like Ryan said, the Lions are pretty much a Walmart version of the Bengals. They have young stud receivers. They brought in DJ Chark, drafted Jamison Williams in the first round. They have a stud running back in DeAndre Swift. They have a top offensive line. But am I going to sit here and watch Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions go out here and get into shootouts and watch Jared Goff try and air the ball out to an Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Yes.
I probably am. But I'm a little low on Amon-Ra just because there is a lot of mouths to feed there. DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams gets the ball a lot in the red zone. TJ Hawkinson, another red zone guy that takes targets. DJ Chark is the receiver 3. Yes, DJ Chark probably isn't better than Amon-Ra St. Brown, but he is there. We know what he's good for. And they did draft Jameson Williams in the first round. It sounds like he's on track to play week 1. So that steers me away from Amon-Ra a little bit just because there's 5 total options there that could get the ball a lot. And Jared Goff is the quarterback, so that steers me away. But Amon-Ra was my sleeper last year, and I was right on him, so I'm not going to totally sleep on him yet.
Our last guy before we get into our kind of sleepers, Jerry Jeudy. Got him at 26. Anthony had him at 24. I'm just going to put it out there on the table right now. I'm off of Jerry Jeudy. I literally, there's nothing appealing to me about Jerry Jeudy.
I crossed that bridge last year, and I don't know if I want to do it again.
I'm not sure I loved him even coming out of college.
It's fair.
I heard BDG say today he was 23, beating up on a bunch of 19-year-olds, so it really ain't saying much.
Nice.
Which,
fair.
He can't catch, and I don't want him.
That's fair. Moving on to our guys that we're targeting in the later rounds / fantasy football receiver sleepers. I'll start with probably my biggest one, Hunter Renfrow. Josh McDaniels is notorious for making his slot receivers elite. I mean, look what he did with Julian Edelman. Look what he did with Chris Hogan. Look what he did with Danny Amendola when he was in New England. He made them bum. I mean, let's be real. Who is Chris Hogan, lacrosse player? Josh McDaniels turned him into a stud.
Hunter Renfrow is the better version of him.
Yeah. And I think we're going to see that this year in Josh McDaniels' offense. Yeah, there's the Darren Waller. Okay, you could say that. Darren Waller and Gronk probably are going to play the same role in the McDaniels' offense. The only X factor is Devontae Adams. That's the only thing
which is a big one.
Yes, that is the only. But I think Hunter Renfrow is still going to be one of the main goal line targets in this offense. We saw them they love to run the little zig routes, little drag routes to the slot receiver in the red zone. I've been watching Patriots football for probably 18 out of the 21 years I've been alive. And it's known they like to throw to slot receivers, especially Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels' offense really isn't too hard. He's going to throw the ball on third downs. He's going to run little halfback screens on third downs, and he's going to throw the ball to his slot receivers and make plays for his slot receivers and his tight ends. So I'm very, very high on Hunter Renfrow this year, and he's being drafted in the 8th, 11th, 12th round. I mean, that's straight value for the upside he has in the year he had last year. So Hunter Renfrow is one of my biggest receiver sleepers this year.
The 4 guys that I have on my list I absolutely love, and I would be very surprised if I don't leave my draft with at least one of them. Rashad Bateman's the first one. The Ravens, a lot of people thought they're going back to a running team, but it's really as simple as this.
They don't have a running back.
There it is. Next. That's really all I have to say. It's Rashad Bateman and Mark Andrews, and that's literally the only people on the team. Don't even say it. Wallace has only had like 2 catches in his career.
Tylan Wallace.
Trust a guy named Pierce, whatever the hell his name
James
is.
Prochet.
He ain't that good either.
No, it's Tylan Wallace.
Tylan Wallace, Rashad Bateman, and Mark Andrews. And forget about Tylan Wallace. There's only 2 guys there.
Tylan Wallace.
Continue with your next 2.
Yeah, I like Tylan Wallace a lot. I'll just throw that in there. My next one, Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju he's made some explosive plays during training camp, and I think that the way he plays is going to have a really good effect on what this new Kansas City offense we might see. I think Kansas City is going to have to kind of get away from the traditional deep balls, the spread offense type of deal, and move more into a traditional play-action offense, set up plays to your tight end, set up deep passes to your wide receiver. Juju's made some explosive plays now that he has a quarterback that can throw the ball more than 5 yards. He's made some flashy plays in camp. I think Juju is a receiver to watch this year. If there's a Chiefs receiver who I would want this year, it's probably between Juju and Sky Moore, but I would say Juju has the hunch just because he is a veteran and just because I think he will be able to wreak havoc in this Chiefs offense with getting open, with teams trying to key on Travis Kelce, teams trying to neutralize the speed of MVS and Sky Moore if they get involved. So I think it's going to be a big year for Juju.
Next up, I have Elijah Moore. The only thing I'm worried about is the quarterback play of the Jets. The offensive line is full of studs. Mekhi Becton, you might want to monitor that situation a little bit.
Yeah, I saw that. Blows, dude.
Their schedule sucks also. But Elijah Moore, he was a stud last year. After the bye, Garrett Wilson probably will be the dog eventually. Not this year, not quite yet. So Elijah Moore, I'm definitely looking to draft him in some of my leagues.
Yeah, and another guy who I have on my list, I know. This is only if what I think happens. I think the Giants are going to go out there and get Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's going to be the starter before week 1. And that's why Kenny Golladay is going to have a monster year this year.
Is there even enough time for Jimmy G to come in and start week 1?
It's almost preseason, bro. They'll be fine. They'll
He's got to learn the whole playbook.
It's fine. He'll go in week 1. They'll be fine, bro. But Kenny Golladay. That is just if the Giants go get Jimmy G. If not, if Daniel Jones is the starter, scrap it. We'll probably see what we saw last year. But again, Kenny Golladay, Christian Kirk, another guy.
Next up, I have 2 rookies, Chris Olave. Jameis Winston loves to throw the ball deep. One of these Saints guys is going to be a stud. I'm definitely in on one of them. I'm going to be drafting one of them on my team in probably every draft. Chris Olave, look out for him. Last up, Jalen Tolbert. He's probably going to start for Dallas because James Washington is hurt, and there's literally nobody else that I can name that's going to be out there week 1. Michael Gallup, nope. James Washington, nope. It's Jalen Tolbert or Noah Brown, so tell me what you think.
And that's going to wrap this up. Again, be sure to like, subscribe, follow us on all our platforms, all our social media accounts. You don't want to miss #1 best fantasy football analysts out there besides fantasy footballers. Those are our guys. We love them, guys. But yeah, thank you guys for watching and listening, and we'll see you guys later in the week with our next uploads.
See you.
Peace.